Is that me on? I'll just double check this. I've not. There we go. Receiving your content. Your audience will see it in a moment. Thank you, YouTube. I'll just make sure I get this okay. The last time I did a live stream, it was through Google Hangouts, but I'm trying the live dashboard. I'm just checking that is okay. You are live. Okay, I'm live. Fantastic. Right. I don't see anywhere for me to share this. There we go. This is what happens with live TV, folks. You know, you're supposed to be all set up. You're supposed to have everything ready. But the reality is that that's not what happens. Okay. Just tell people on Twitter. Should really be more prepared for this, but I'm not, so I apologise to anyone who's watching just now, or those who watch it being played back. So, the reason for this broadcast, really because I'm lazy. There's a few things I want to talk about. There's a few different things that I've saw in the news in the last few days, in the last week or so, and I thought I'd, rather than doing lots of little videos about it, I'd put them all in one video. And if I can stream it, it makes it easier for me to show you some of the things that I'm talking about. So, one of the big things that's been in the news recently, and all of this kind of ties in together, all the stories I'm going to talk about, is VR machines, virtual reality. And if I can shrink down my screen, I'll make myself small. There we go. Is that going to work live? Hopefully I can. Or perhaps not. Yeah, is it? Is that going to work live? There we go. Right, okay, so I'm a little bit smaller now, and I think I made the wrong string. Yeah, I made the wrong stream big there. Right, okay. So you should be able to see what I'm looking at now on Google Chrome. And you can see here, the Oculus founder, not Oculus because that's not a word, Oculus founder delivered the first Rift headset in person. So, the Oculus Rift thing's been, they've had the beta version out for a while, and they've had people testing it for quite a long time. And this is a big company. They were bought over by Facebook, and they are the first company to release their product. So this is quite big news. This is the first mainstream VR product to go out. And I'm not talking about Nintendo's Virtual Boy. Obviously that gets them. That should get the title of being the first first real VR machine. But even if you go back, there's always been kind of earlier prototypes and things like that. And anyone who grew up in the 90s like me will remember the Lawnmower Man. And the Lawnmower Man, I've actually sat through the Lawnmower Man 2, and it's absolutely horrendous, so don't watch that. But the Lawnmower Man was actually a really good film with Jeff Fahey and Pierce Brosnan before he did James Bond. But I digress. The Oculus, what I noticed today, there's a review on Engadget about it, and it got a really good review. It got 84. And the main thing going against it is the price. It's going to be $600 in the USA, so probably about 400 odd pounds, £500 in the UK. But the reviews are quite positive, and I saw a review. I'm not sure if I'll put this on for you. This is from The Verge. This is a video, and this gives you an idea of what it's like. You can see the woman. She's wearing her headset, but she's in a room, and she's walking around. So it does look good. There's no doubt that it does look good, and this thing is here to stay. I don't think this isn't going to be something that like the Virtual Boy that was way ahead of its time, too ahead of its time, to be honest. And we weren't ready for it. The technology wasn't there, but the technology is here now, and we have this Oculus Rift. We have a few other companies. Sony are going to release their VR machine later in the year, and HTC are doing one. I think it's called Vive, and I think it's here to stay. And I think one sign that it's here to stay is there was an announcement last week, which I thought was quite funny, was the pornography website Pornhub. They were giving out lots of VR machines to people, in competitions and things, and they've already launched a virtual reality porn channel. And the minute the porn channels start adopting technology, it's going to go mainstream. That's how VHS won the Betamax and VHS war. That's how Blu-rays and things like that adopted. They're always kind of at the forefront of technology. To their credit, I suppose. And I guess in one respect it's good that companies are adopting VR, but when I heard about Pornhub were doing videos, virtual reality videos, and I think this could be the end of the human race. I think it's going to be, there's going to be unlikely guys, teenage boys and, guys in their 20s. I don't want to leave the house when this technology gets refined. Why are you going to spend lots of money taking girls to restaurants and getting rejected in nightclubs when you can sit in your house in a virtual reality machine? I'm joking about it, but there will be people who do this and who will even detach from reality even more because of this kind of thing. But one of the things that there's a news story today, which I'll show you just now. It was in the Wall Street Journal, and it was talking about Sony's plans for their VR machine. But one of the interesting things was Sony are actually planning a brand new PS4, and it is going to be a machine that delivers 4K. So I'm sure this is going to annoy the hell out of existing Sony PS4 owners. But essentially, it's kind of like what they did with the 3DS. They brought out the new version of the 3DS, and all the 3DS games still work in the newer version, but the new 3DS is more powerful, and essentially I think that's what's going to happen here. So I'm sure some people will be annoyed about it, but I think it's good. Technology moves forward whether you like it or not, and I don't recall this happening in a games console. As I said, it happened with the 3DS, but I don't remember any technology company doing this before. If you go back to the PS3, there was a PS3 Slim, but the PS3 Slim wasn't an upgraded version. It was just the exact same version, but it had been made smaller and been made by cheaper parts. And in some respects, it was a lesser version. There was less USB ports and things like that. But this is the first time I recall a major console being released where it's got less features. Most of the time what they do is when technology moves forward, the parts, the CPUs, the RAM, all these things get cheaper, so they can produce a cheaper version of the console, and they can blast out and trying to sell to people who don't have it. That's why you had the cheaper versions of the Mega Drive and all that in the past. I actually had a slim PS2 myself. I didn't buy the original bigger version. I had the PS2 Slim with a little, the little folding LCD screen. It was really good, actually. I really liked it. But they are releasing their VR machine. You can see it here. They are releasing their VR machine at towards the end of the year, and imagine this jump to 4K is, it all ties in with this plan for VR. Now, obviously, to use the Sony VR machine, you're going to have to use a PS4. And for Oculus, you're going to need a really powerful PC. So this isn't going to be a cheap way to experience virtual reality, but I do think it's going to be popular. And those people who already have a PS4, if they don't have a powerful PC, I think this is going to be the way that they go into the virtual reality experience. So I think it's going to prove very popular. And another thing that ties in with this is the news today. So I saw. Well, I say that the news today. This is the worst kept rumor for. It's about the Nintendo NX, which is Nintendo's next system. There's been a lot of rumors recently about Nintendo are going to drop the Wii U this year, and they're going to release the Nintendo NX. And the article today in Forbes says that the NX is going to be more powerful than the PS4. Now, Nintendo actually came out and said, no, this isn't the case. We're not discontinuing the Wii U and things. But if you tech companies always do this. They say, no, it's not happening. And then they announce it because they want to release information when they want to release it. They don't want to confirm any rumors because certain things are true and certain things aren't. As far as the next Nintendo console, I think it's good. I don't want Nintendo to go the way of Sega and just become a publisher. I think Nintendo are really good at their A titles and their own games and tying things in with their own system and giving a unique experience. I have a Wii U. I had a Wii before, which subsequently got washed away because I left. I gave it to my brother and his house got flooded. But I've really been happy with the Wii U, to be honest. I play older Wii games in it. I play like Zelda and things like that in it, and I've probably got about 15 games or something like that, or 10 games or so. It's without a doubt though the problem with the Nintendo console, the Wii U, has been that they can't get third-party developers to develop games for it, and it's kind of contrast to the PS4. Like for example, take FIFA. For example, I've got FIFA 13 for the Nintendo Wii U, and there was like a FIFA 15 and 16 for the older Nintendo Wii, which is a system which is like a 10 years older or something like that, and they have FIFA for that, but Electronic Arts pulled out and they didn't develop another game for the Wii U because they didn't think that there was an audience for it, which is it just kind of highlights the problem that the Wii U has had. Still catch-22. The developers need customer base to develop games for it, but then how do you get the customers if there's no games for them to encourage to buy? But the actual AA games, your Zeldas, your Marios, and Star Fox, etc., or Star Ring in the UK it was called years ago, that's coming out in the Nintendo Wii U as well. So if you can pick up a Nintendo Wii U cheap, I would do it. You get a lot of good bargains second hand, and there's a lot of really good unique games that you won't get in other consoles. One of the reasons I went for the Nintendo Wii U at the time was I had a PS3 and had a lot of games for it, and I was going to buy the PS4. By the time in the UK, it was about £400, and I picked up a Nintendo Wii U at the time with 2 games and 2 controllers for £144 from Amazon Italy. So I paid £144 for 2 controllers, well 3 really. You've got the big one and then the 2 the standard Wii controllers. I picked up some nunchucks and all that kind of thing cheap, and that was really cheap. And at the time, it would have cost me £400 for a PS4 with no games and 1 controller. So once I added in another game, another controller, would have been the best part of £500. So at the time, it made no sense for me to jump towards the PS4. The biggest reason, though, wasn't the money. The biggest reason was there was no incentive for me to pay 3 times more for the PS4 than the Nintendo Wii U, because I still had a PS3, and all those games that were coming out in the PS4 were still being released on the PS3. And that is actually still the case. I can buy all the latest FIFAs, John Madden, Tiger Woods 16 and all this. All these things are still coming out in the PS3. And even some of the, like The Last of Us and things like that come out in the PS3 and then it got remastered for the PS4. There hasn't been too many exclusives for the PS4 that have made me think, oh, I need to get this console yet. I mean, I missed out on a couple of things like Battlefront and things. I'm sure I will get a PS4 at one point. The prices come down and there's a huge catalogue now. But I'm still, I still play my PS3 actually. And I just don't see there's an incentive. But this 4K PS4, I think this will really help me. This will really encourage me to get that. So I think this virtual reality thing, is here to stay. And you already see this is making Sony change their plans. They're going to release a 4K machine, and I'm sure it's going to influence Nintendo. If Nintendo doesn't jump into this VR machine in some way or another, I'll be surprised. They're touching their feet, and they're kind of dropping their feet into the mobile world. And I'll just check that. They're kind of dropping their feet into the mobile world. They're going to play about with some games on the smartphones and things, hopefully in the future. But I think Nintendo are going to be, they're going to be there. I think, and I hope because I don't want Nintendo to go the way of Sega. As I was saying earlier, I don't want to go the way of Sega and only publish games. I think for a lot of their games to work, they would be limited by being forced to use a certain controller or being forced to use certain equipment. It wouldn't surprise me though, if they did go down that road, if they did say, right, we're only publishing games, then you would see a lot of their games being released with special controllers to use and things like that. But I'll tell you one thing, if Sony or Microsoft were able to, if Nintendo stopped releasing consoles, which they're not, but if they did, if Sony or Microsoft were able to get an exclusive with them, like that machine would dominate without a doubt, because I think there's a big, especially when people that have never played Nintendo before, they have this idea that people that play Nintendo are childs, they only like kids games, which is, I don't think it's true, because I love Call of Duty, I like some horror games, I love first person shooters and things, I love sports games. But some of these games that Nintendo released, they're absolutely fantastic. You're not going to get a platform game as good as Mario on any of the other systems. You're not going to get an adventure game as good as Zelda in any of the systems. I know you've got things like The Last of Us and Uncharted and things like that on the PlayStation and all that. But it's a little bit of a different style of game. I think Zelda, without doubt, is one of the best gaming series. And if you're a gamer and you've never played Zelda, then what you do and get into it, it's amazing. And the sheer size of the games is awesome. Like Twilight Princess HD was recently released for the Wii U, but I've actually got the Wii version. I've got, in fact, hold on now, I'll show you the version I've got. Just noticed that was sitting there. So that's the version I've got. Skyward Sword for the Wii, and I've got the Zelda controller. I purchased this when I had the Wii U, not when I had the Wii. I think I had another Zelda before. And this is an absolute epic game. I think we've got, me and my friend have been playing it, and we've got over, it's something crazy, like 30 hours of gameplay or something like that. Is this going to fall down? I hope not. These arm things are a pain in the bum. So yeah, that is an absolutely epic game. And we've got over 30 hours of gameplay, and we've still got about 25% of the game left to play. Just an epic game, and all the Zelda games are like that. So I hope Nintendo stays in the game console market, as far as developing consoles. And I think realistically though, they're always going to be someone's second console. As far as they'll have a PS4 and a Nintendo, or an Xbox and a Nintendo, that kind of thing, because although Microsoft and Sony have exclusives, most of the titles you can get on both systems, and it's really Nintendo that has all these exclusive games, and they've still got that amazing Nintendo back catalogue. And it's kind of interesting how all the stories that I've been talking about, the Sony 4K machine, the Sony VR, Nintendo NX, and the Oculus Rift, it all kind of ties into the news of this. Hold on the night. All kind of ties in to the news of virtual reality being released, and it seems to be it's going to be a catalyst for the gaming market. And I don't know if it's going to be like the Nintendo Wii, where we're going to see people who are Nintendo Wii. What they did was the Nintendo Wii, it kind of brought people to gaming who didn't really like games, Before that, I wouldn't say it was only geeks, but, you had the Nintendo Wii really brought in people that didn't play games before, and then they were playing, people in nights out, they were playing Wii Sports and all that kind of thing. And a lot of those people kind of fell away after that. But I think virtual reality is something, again, that will capture their imagination, it's going to bring in a lot of people who or perhaps not dedicated gamers. And that's good. I think it's good. I think it's all good for the gaming industry. And it's going to be interesting to see how it develops. And it wouldn't surprise me if we then see, what I've already talked about, like Pornhub developing a channel for it. But we're going to see this affecting other areas as well. We're going to see this. There's going to be cameras that can record in VR. There's going to be movies in VR. There's going to be DVDs in VR and all that kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting how it all goes. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching this stream. I thought I'd put it all together in one video to save myself the hassle. And I'd love to hear what you think about this, what you think about the VR machines that have been released, what you think about the Nintendo NX, if it's true. Do you like Nintendo? What do you want to see from them? And I do hope the Nintendo makes it more powerful than the PS4. At least they have a step up. The fact that Nintendo have been releasing systems that have been a generation behind has really, really held them back, I think. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about VR. And if you've got a Sony PS4, I'd love to know whether you are going to upgrade to a 4K version, whether you think you'll sell your older one and buy a 4K version, or whether you're just happy with what you've got just now. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to tie it up here, but if you've enjoyed watching this, please do comment below, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so, and I'll speak to you soon. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.